If you are someone who is gung-ho about ETH, you are a maxi, you are holding it. You'll let people pay you in ETH. However, you do not want to spend your ETH on anything. So it's good news to see that last month, ENS domains allowed the payment of their domain names using fiat currencies via Moonpay. So this allows people to buy them with their debit cards and credit cards. That's great news. However, there is a huge problem that could threaten the feasibility of ENS domains altogether, despite this amazing news that allows more people to come on board. So today we're going to discuss what that is. Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. So if you listened to yesterday's episode, you heard me speak about why the gas prices on ETH was going absolutely crazy. And that ties into today's episode as to why ENS domains could possibly be in trouble the way they currently are. Now, if you try to register a domain, and gas prices have gone down considerably since I recorded yesterday's episode, you're going to look at about paying $50 or so in gas. That is a far cry away from the peak when everything was probably as much as double of that. But right now, you're looking at paying $5 for a domain name and $50 to register to it. So obviously, you can save by doing long-term registrations. So for 10 years, you're going to pay the same amount as gas as you would if you're just registering for 1 year. So it balances out over time. But that is a huge problem when it comes to registering these domains. Who's actually registering these for 10, 15, 20, 30 years? They'll even let you go even higher than that. But to save on gas, what makes it feasible, it just doesn't make sense to do 1 year registrations. And that was the case when I registered my first ENS domain. At the time, I didn't really have much ETH anyways, but I think I did either 2 or 3 years for my first registration. But then last year, when everything was down, gas prices were very affordable and reasonable, I was registering for 1 year. Now, with a lot of those renewals coming up, it's like I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that gas prices go down, this meme coin craze goes down. However, I think at the broader picture, as I'm looking at ENS domains compared to the unstoppable domains, I happen to own both. I like the model of the unstoppable domains for the simple fact that I pay once and I own it. That is just very Web3. Of course, when I buy something, I want to own it. I don't want to have a subscription, whereas with ENS, I'm paying every single year for continual use of that. However, it just makes more sense from a business standpoint. They're two completely different business models that a subscription base is going to have an ongoing source of revenue. Whereas with unstoppable domains, they're going to continuously have to sell more extensions, more domains, and so forth. But they also recently offered this thing called parking, which allows you to keep your domain with them on their servers, not taking it out into self-custody and putting it onto your wallet. That does have an annual fee, and that is how they decided to try to monetize that. That just recently launched the other day because quite a few of them that I had purchased, I just had sitting there. I never officially minted them on Polygon and brought them over. But that really brings me to the next thing. As I said, I minted them onto Polygon, and I think that is what ENS domains really should do. They should transition from the mainnet Ethereum and go over to Polygon, because even unstoppable domains, they initially started on mainnet ETH. However, the cost of the gas and the transactions and everything, it was really limiting their growth. So after making that transition over to Polygon, which is a little bit more step to set up, of course, you're going to have to add Polygon to that wallet. Let's say someone's using MetaMask, you're going to have to add that network. But as far as it being just more practical, you're not paying those massive gas fees when you're seeing $5 for a domain, $50 for gas fees. That's discouraging in itself, and it's going to cause a lot of people to not register. The degens that are in the space and they see the value of these domains, they might find a catchy name or something. Great, they're going to do that. However, there are those people that they're trying to onboard using fiat and that are really just discovering Web3, what it means to have a digital identity and their domains. That is going to be a huge deterrent for them. Now, of course, as I open up this thing saying that not everyone that's going to be using this Moonpay payment option is going to be the person that is a newbie. Some of these people that do not want to spend their ETH, that is why they're going to end up using this Moonpay option anyways. But that really comes down to a personal preference as to holding on the ETH. Going forward, I think that is something that has to be addressed, because these lower cost NFTs on Ethereum mainnet, it's just really not practical. It's not feasible. Buying something for $5 and paying $50 worth of gas. Now, how all of that works out on their back end, does that make any sense? I don't really know how they're going to do that. Of course, that is for them to figure out. If Unstoppable Domains figured it out as to how they can do that and not only make that switch, but also be able to pay for the gas for them to be minted onto Polygon, well, then I think they can figure out the same thing too. It's just a matter as to what their convictions are, what they really want to do, and if it makes sense for them. But I absolutely think they have a huge problem on their hands, but maybe it just doesn't matter. Maybe the ENS community is so gung-ho about keeping everything on ETH that it just might be a wash. They know that their primary users, the people that help them to get to where they are just all about ETH and want nothing to do with Polygon. But I think broader adoption, thinking about growing the business and what have you, that might be something that they have to do down the line, because I don't think the average person coming into the space is going to want to pay that massive gas fee. And maybe that's something that they're thinking of. Well, it's going to encourage them to register for 10, 20 years or whatever it might be. And that is just another incentive, because it's there loud and clear on their website. You can save by registering for multiple years. And of course, by doing that, they're going to get more money up front. But that also poses the problem of, let's just say the majority of people register for 10 years. Okay. Well, then that revenue stream is going to be all up front. And then as time goes on, in theory, it's actually going to go less. Now, who knows where that's going to go? If enough people are coming into the space and registering other names, okay, cool, it's going to continue. But the way their pricing structure is set at $5 per domain, $5 worth of ETH, that is, it also says the amount of ETH that they're getting over time is going down. They could change their pricing structure, but it's just something to really think about. How is this going to be for the business in the long term? And I would love to see how they're going to work out the economics of this, the pricing structure, of course, the fact that ETH in theory should go up, so they should be getting less ETH per domain, but also the fact that crazy gas prices just does not encourage anyone to register anything. Love to know your thoughts on this whole thing. Do you have ENS domains, Unstoppable Domains? Let me know how you feel about the registration fees and what have you. Any change that you do have to make on those ENS domains does require more gas. So if you decide to add other addresses or change the email or change the Twitter handle or something that you have associated with that particular one, guess what? More gas. So does that matter to you? Would you just rather stay on mainnet, or would you think it would be more feasible to at least consider going over to Polygon? Love to hear your thoughts. Please feel free to reach out to me at Tropic Vibes on Twitter. But as usual, I just want to thank you for taking time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. So until next time, later. The Nifty Business Arrow is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.